Hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. Welcome back to the home studio. Hope you're all doing very well today. This is episode 4 in our official YouTube journey. Today, I thought we could catch up a little bit and go over some of the recording sessions that I've been doing this past week. I've got 2 different songs that I've been working on. One of them is a little bit heavier. One of them is a little bit on the lighter side. We also did our very first Twitch stream on a Twitch channel that I made, which was very fun. So thank you everyone who showed up for that and was commenting and asking questions and everything. I thought it might be interesting to share some sort of best practices or some helpful tips that I have found work for me when I'm recording my own vocals, by myself. We'll go through some of the recording sessions I've been working on. I'll play you some clips of some new stuff, and we can hopefully find some examples of these tips to make them more interesting as we talk about them. So thank you all very much for being here, and let's get started. Skies of the coward, mark of the beast, truth turns to sound, nothing will grow upon it, nothing will grow. Alright, so this first tip is something we can do before we even start singing or screaming or recording any type of vocals. And this first thing you want to do is to have a basic mix of your instrumental track as well as a basic vocal chain for your microphone and for your singer that you're going to be recording, especially if you're tracking by yourself. So the 2 things that I would say for a vocal chain that are, let's say there's 3 things that would be very important for a vocal chain. It's just a basic EQ, a basic compressor, and then maybe some effects, right? You don't have to have the world's greatest vocal chain or a final mix right out of the gate, but having a basic EQ to correct any tonal issues that you don't like about the microphone or the person's voice or whatever it is, a compressor to even out the fluctuations in volume, that's really important, and it helps them hear their voice consistently. And then some effects also help, make the vocal feel more powerful, makes things feel a little bit more sexy, enjoyable to listen to. So like some delay, some reverb, things like that. You want it like the better that it sounds, as the better it sounds, the better, right? It's like as long as you're not taking away from their performance with your mix or with the settings, you're good. If you can improve upon their performance, whether you feel like, wow, this really feels great, this track sounds great, this song is intense, I'm into it, whatever it is, that's even better. So that's the goal, right? Of just basic instrumental mix, basic vocal chain settings. This will get you a long way of not being distracted by, audio engineering stuff when you're trying to focus on performance. That's the main thing. Vocal chain on, effects on. You know who I am. They were speaking lies about you. Could you know if you could understand? Break the ceiling, walls surround you. No vocal chain settings, no effects. They were speaking lies about you. Okay, the next tip is another audio engineering one. It might seem basic, but I promise it's super important, is to have a good mix in the singer's headphones when they're performing. What I mean by that is if they like their voice loud, make sure they can hear themselves, their vocal is loud. If they want the instruments louder, if they want the guitar up, whatever they want in their mix or whatever you want in your mix if you're the performer, having a good balance in the headphones is everything, because that dictates your entire headspace that you're in while you're performing. Everything that we talked about in the first tip with setting up our instrumental and our vocal doesn't help us if it's not balanced well in the singer's headphones. So if you're recording yourself, definitely take the time to make it sound good the way you want in your headphones. And if you're recording someone else, be sure to ask them, because a lot of singers won't speak up, especially if they're newer in the studio. They won't know that that's bothering them, and they will just keep trying to push through the performance. And you'll be missing out on getting the best possible takes that you could if they had a better mix in their headphones. This is something that I learned from a producer who worked on one of the My Ticket Home records, Fred Archambault. He's the man. A helpful tip for setting up a headphone mix for singers is to add a little bit extra bass, whether it's bass guitar or bass keyboard, whatever's in the song, because human beings fundamentally gravitate towards the lowest pitch in a chord, and having that little bit of extra bass helps you clearly hear the key of the song and helps you stay in pitch better while you're singing and giving your performance. You know, having the bass as a guide, a good guide in your headphones, I think for me personally, I've noticed helps me stay in pitch a little bit better. So give that a shot on your next session, see if it helps you. So this next tip is something that you've probably seen before if you've ever watched, videos of people recording or performing in studio, is where the singer will take one ear of the headphones and they will actually move it off of their ear just behind their head, or some people go in front. They will have one ear out and one ear covered. So they're half listening to their own real voice in real time in the room, and the other ear is listening to the playback in the headphones. It really helps with pitch, and it really helps you not push too hard. A lot of the time, the difficulty in singing something correctly usually amounts to the fact that you can't hear your own voice well enough. If you've ever played a live show where you didn't have a good sound engineer and you can't hear your own voice, you know exactly what I'm talking about. This makes it very hard to know what you're doing because you can't hear yourself well. And so sometimes just a little, just moving the headphone can kind of rewire your headspace, and it sounds a little bit different now, and you can hear your voice a little bit better, and maybe that'll help you get the performance a little bit, that you're looking for.
I don't really care about it all this time. I think I'll be just fine. Never knew that ever would it be this hard to swallow.
All right, so let's get into some stuff about what to do while you're actually tracking, while you're actually performing. Let's talk about screaming first, right? One of the most challenging things happening when you're screaming is to try to manage your endurance and manage your fatigue, depending on how comfortable you are with your technique, or how difficult the part is that you're trying to perform. You want to know how much of a song you can sing or scream in one take and still give a great performance the whole way through. You're doing long enough takes that you can be in the moment, be present in the song, be emotionally invested in the song, but you're not doing too long of takes to where you're fatiguing or burning out. And you also don't want to be doing too short of takes to where you're singing, only one or two words at a time, and then you have to chop them up and stitch them together, and then they don't feel realistic once you compile them into a final performance. So it's really, it's artistic taste, so it varies from person to person what you think that good middle ground zone is. But finding that will really help you get the best performances consistently, and it'll help keep the vocal session moving forward, and you'll feel like you're making positive progress with each part that you complete, and you won't be frustrated trying to do too much or too little. And a little bonus tip that goes along with this is the concept of what we call a handoff in the vocal recording. And this is where you do two separate takes, but you stitch them together in a comp that makes them sound like one convincing performance. And you'll hear this all the time, especially in modern music, especially in pop music, where there's a seamless edit between the two takes and it sounds like one performance, but the person was able to rest and take a break and hit that second half fresh. And this is how people are able to give performances that if you try to sing along to the song, you're like, how does this person breathe? How do they have this energy? Or you see them live and it's a little bit different. This is a dangerous one, because if you overuse it, you're getting away from reality a little bit too much. And like we said, that's artistic taste. But just knowing that you have that option of when to use, when to split something into two halves and hand off together, that's very helpful if you have, if say there's something you're trying to complete and you want to just do it like that. Take one. And take two. Okay, this next one is something that is specific to tracking screams, and this is something that I have been doing more recently that I've been really enjoying. It is to put some extra distortion on your vocal chain while you're recording. This isn't something that is necessarily going to stay in the final mix, but having that extra gain, that extra saturation, that extra compression on your voice while you're trying to scream, it really, for me, gets me out of my own head and prevents me from judging myself, and it makes my voice feel more powerful than it really is. It helps enable me to try, things that are a little bit more out there, and it just makes the process more fun and more enjoyable. Now, obviously, if you don't have the basic foundation of your screaming technique, just throwing on a bunch of distortion isn't going to magically change your voice. But I have found, for me personally, it does feel like a little bit of a boost and a little bit of enhancement that makes the tracking process more fun. And it doesn't get in the way of the final result. It's all digital these days, so you can always take it off and undo it. But just having it in the headphones for the tracking session, for me personally, has been a lot of fun. So give it a shot next time you're tracking screams, and see if you like it as well.
I was never meant to be the better man, just created for the pleasure of your entire fantasy. Will bring it death because you're wrong.
All right, so this next tip applies to both singing and screaming, and this is definitely something to keep in mind if you're tracking by yourself. Don't do too many takes in a row without listening back to them. I cannot tell you the amount of times where I have sang a part multiple times in a row, over and over, trying to get it a certain way in my head, only to then listen back to it and go, shit, I need to change something, or this wasn't working because of this certain reason, that you're not able to notice in real time while you're performing. You have to step back and listen to it. So generally, I would say, anywhere from like 3 to 5 takes, and then listen back to those, see what you've got. Or if it's early in the session and you've never sang the part before, listen back to every take. It's all personal preference, and you'll find what works best for you. But I've experienced this myself, where you'll be trying to sing the same thing over and over, and you kind of get in this repetitive pattern of feeling like you didn't quite get it right. And so you just want to try it again right away. But remembering to stop, force yourself to take a beat, listen back to it, get a clearer idea of where you're kind of maybe making the mistakes. Maybe it's, I'm not singing this word right, or I'm flat here, or I'm sharp here. You'll find the places where you're making the mistakes, and it'll save you a lot of time as well. So definitely make sure you stop and listen, and that'll keep you on the right track moving forward as you record. Okay, next tip has to do with your beverage of choice, what you like to be sipping on while you're recording your vocals. I personally like hot beverages or warm beverages to drink while I'm recording. It makes me feel like more flexible to give the better performance. So you'll see this in lots of my videos. I'll be drinking tea, some type of hot tea. I'll let it cool down, of course. I mean, it's not scalding hot, but just something warm to kind of soothe and relax the throat. That's what I enjoy personally. Some people like room temperature water. Some people, there's all types of stuff that people drink for their voice, but just experiment, try something, see what works for you. Generally, people don't like cold water because cold temperatures restrict and tighten your muscles, and warm temperatures relax and loosen your muscles. But I even enjoy it where if I'm out of tea, I'll just drink a cup of warm water, which sounds kind of unappetizing. But the sensation and the relaxation that I get for the vocal cords is worth it. So yeah, always make sure you get your beverage that helps get you the best performance. All right, so the last and most important tip for the day is to just try to do your best to remember to have fun while you're recording, especially when you're doing something physically, taxing like screaming or singing an intense part. Enjoying the process and being positively invested, and emotionally connecting with the song will always give you the best results. And so much of these tips today were just trying to get as many things out of the way as possible so we can just focus on feeling and being in the moment and being in the song. Yeah, thank you all very much for watching. I really hope that some of these tips are helpful for you, especially if you are, solo recorder who's engineering and performing at the same time. Give me some notes in the comments. Let me know if these are things that you already do, or if you have other tips that could be helpful for me to check out. I would definitely like to hear those as well. So I'm sure we can learn from each other. I hope that you're out there, we're all getting our best performances down and making more good music. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.